Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to Guitar Tips. My name is Adam Levy. Guitar Tips, as you may know, is my weekly video blog series. I post a brand new guitar tip here each and every Friday. Just the tips, just for you. This week's guitar tip is time is relative. Time is relative, right? Now, it won't take an Einstein to understand what I'm talking about, as you'll see. This week's tip was inspired by a comment I got on the previous guitar tip. In that tip, I was talking about playing in time and playing with some musical space. And a guitar tip viewer named David Daly wrote in and said, I would be interested sometime to hear your ideas about playing on top of the beat, behind the beat, and ahead of the beat, when and why a person would want to do this. David, that's a really good question. You might think reasonably that there is a center of the beat, and if you're going to play, why would you not want to play right on the beat? And if you don't play right on the beat, aren't you wrong? And of course, no, you're not wrong. I would refer you to guitar tip number 83, which is called Bend in Tune. And I talked about practicing your bends when you bend strings so that you're really in tune. And of course, I got some comments on that video saying, well, wait a minute, a lot of expressive guitar players don't bend exactly in tune all the time. Sometimes, a bend that's a little bit sharp or a little bit flat can have some emotional impact to it. And I would say the same is really true of time. I don't have a rule of thumb of when you should play, on the forward part of the beat and when you should play behind the beat or when you should play right on top of the beat. The real thing is just to practice it all these different ways so that you have some choices and you have some control over what you're doing. If it's not something that you work on, you may find that you're going to play in one part of the beat all the time. Or you just may not be tuned into that part of music that's very real and very much going on in music all the time. A good example, I think, is if you listen to early Chuck Berry records, like if you listen to the original single of Johnny B. Good, the band is not all really dividing up the time in the same way. Chuck is playing kind of his concept of eighth notes, and the drummer is swinging a certain kind of eighth notes, and the bass players, everybody has a slightly different concept of what rock and roll eighth notes are supposed to feel like, and where the time is placed. And there's a beautiful tension in that disagreement, really. If you line everybody up onto some kind of time grid, which is easy to do these days, that doesn't make the music better, just as if you fix the intonation of a guitar bend or a vocal note, having everything be perfectly in tune doesn't make the music necessarily better. It just makes it in tune. So no big I don't have a spreadsheet that explains, when you're supposed to play on top of the beat and when you're supposed to play behind and whatever like that. But I would just say experiment with it. by turning on a metronome and trying to play right in the center of the time, and then see what happens when you lay back a little bit, and then see what happens when you push forward a little bit. And if possible, record yourself doing this, and maybe as you record yourself, say out loud so that you have it on the recording, now I'm going to try laying behind the beat, now I'm going to try pushing forward, now I'm going to try playing center, and see if when you listen back, if you're actually doing what you think you're doing. And if not, spend some time on it and work on it some more. It's a very subtle area of music. A lot of musicians maybe don't think about it at all, but once you become aware of it, it can be a really useful tool. The more different kinds of music you play, the more you might find opportunities to do, one way or the other, and also the more different kinds of parts that you play, even within any particular style of music, depending on if you're locking in with the bass player, or if you're locking in with what the snare drum is doing, or if you're locking in with what the singer is doing, or whatever you're keyed into, you might find in that an opportunity to express time a little bit differently. So that's it this week. A real simple tip that I hope that you will find helpful, and I hope that will give you some new things to think about when you're practicing or performing or recording or whatever you might be doing on the guitar. Thanks to Martin Guitar Strings for their sponsorship of Guitar Tips, and as I've been mentioning lately, I am available for Skype lessons. If you're interested, you can write to me at guitartips@adamlevy.com. That's it for this week. Stay tuned and take good care.